Hi, this is Jason from Horrific Nightmares, and welcome to another edition of What's in the Bag, Jay? Now, this, of course, is a segment where I pick 6 movies from my collection that I haven't seen, write their names down on a piece of paper, draw 2 out at random, and do 2 reviews. Now, returning from last week is Astral, School of the Damned, Boo, Dark Light, and making its debut this week is Ghost in the Graveyard. Now, this looks like a lot of fun. Really cool. And a special thank you to Hobbs. One of the things he sent over for my birthday is NARCOPOLIS. Been really wanting to see this. Alright, let me give the bag a good tussle, and we'll see what we're watching this week. Alright, selection number 1 is Ghosts in the Graveyard. Alright. Our second selection is ASTRAL. So I'm going to set those movies aside while I sit the others side by side by side. Take my trusty Freddy vs. Jason die. We're going to see what comes back next week. One. Alright. Give the bag a good tussle. And pick the film that's automatically coming back next week. Dark Light. Alright, if you guys want to see me review NARCOPOLIS, School of the Damned, or Boo, definitely let me know your thoughts and comment down below. But right now, I'm going to go watch Astral and Ghost in the Graveyard and come back with 2 reviews later. Well, I'm back. I just watched Ghost in the Graveyard, and here are my thoughts. Ghost in the Graveyard is a 2019 film which runs approximately 93 minutes and is written and directed by Charlie Comparetto. Now, I couldn't find anything on him. This stars Kelly Berglund as Sally Sullivan. She was in Going for Gold and One Night. Jake Busey as Charlie Sullivan. He was in Identity, Starship Troopers, and The Predator. And Olivia Larson as Zoe. She was in Seneca and The Last Halloween. Now, this had a worldwide gross of $27,311, and it was filmed in Westchester, New York. Now, this is a pretty interesting film. It starts out with a bunch of kids playing a kind of like a tag game, like a ghost game, in the graveyard. One of their friends accidentally gets killed when she falls in a hole dug for a coffin. And from there, it takes place 10 years later, where the best friend of the girl who passed away is coming home. Now, Jake Busey plays her dad, and she doesn't really explain where she's been. Her classmates think she's been in an asylum, which she said that's not the case, but she really doesn't explain where she's been. And she starts getting these visions and getting visited by her dead friend, which is the girl who passed away. And she's telling her things that she may not be who everyone says she is. Now, this was a pretty interesting film up until this point. From there, I got completely lost because it didn't seem like the director actually knew what kind of movie he wanted to make. Now, from that point, when the girl finds out she's not necessarily who they think she is, there is an ultimate struggle between good and evil between her and her friends. It's like the movie shifted tones almost completely and went for something a little bit more ambitious, definitely more ambitious than they had the money to create. Now, like I said, this isn't a bad movie, but I really did lose interest at about the 45-minute mark. It was interesting. Her visions were interesting. Getting visited by the dead friend was interesting. But after that, it just seemed like, oh, we need to think of something else to put in the movie. So how about we throw this, this, and this in? And it was just too much for me. So really can't recommend this one. This actually has a really cool cover though, and I was encouraged because it had Jake Busey in it. Now, granted, Jake Busey is not my favorite actor. His dad is definitely a trip. He was a really good actor before his accident, in my opinion. His son is so-so, in my opinion. So, yeah. Like I said, I really can't recommend this one. To me, it was just too. The story was just too much. Too many things thrown in. So, take that for what it's worth. And I'll be back in a few with the second review. Okay, I'm back with our second review, which is Astral. Now, Astral is a 2018 film which runs approximately 83 minutes. And this is kind of weird because on the back of the DVD, you guys probably can't see it, but it actually says 74 minutes. And when I looked up on IMDb, it said 83 minutes. Well, IMDb actually did something right for a change. How about that? I guess whoever printed the artwork on this messed up. And this is actually a slipcover, so they messed up twice. Now, this is written and directed by Chris Mull, and he directed 7 episodes of a TV series that I had never heard of. Now, this has an interesting story. When I originally picked this up, I picked it up from the DVD lady that I talk about sometimes, where she buys stuff from Walmart, like a lot of the titles that they have on the shelves, and then watches them, and then sells them to me for pretty cheap. And when I looked at this, I was like, wow, that really looks like the guy from Fear the Walking Dead. And normally when I recognize somebody on the cover, I'm normally wrong. So, but wouldn't you know, I actually did something right. And it is actually Frank Delane as Alex Harmon. Now, he was in How to Build a Girl and Fear the Walking Dead. This also stars Catherine Steadman as Claire Harmon. Now, she was in About Time and a bunch of TV. And finally, Vanessa Grass as Alyssa Hodge. She was in Gila, Open 24 Hours, and Leatherface. Now, this is a UK film which grossed a whopping $7,903. And it was shot in 12 days across 2 locations. One of the locations is really cool. I thought it might have been Oxford, because this is in England, of course, this is in London. But this was shot in the University of London, if I'm not mistaken, which is a gorgeous, gorgeous place. Definitely urge you guys to look it up, and it's just an amazing looking place. So it automatically had the atmosphere and the location for me. Now, this is a slow burn and a low budget film. Now, slow burns may not be your thing. If it's not, you definitely might want to skip this one. Now, a brief synopsis is Alex has lost his mother and basically doesn't talk to his father for reasons that you end up finding out later on in the film. Now, he's going to the University of London, which they don't necessarily specify, but when I looked it up at the end, that's where they filmed some of this. So he's in a class in college that is talking about astral projections, which apparently is a real thing. I don't really know if I believe in all that, but who knows. And he gets interested and decides that he wants to try this. So in order to do this, they have to lay down and go to a state of almost not sleeping, but um, it's like a consciousness where you're like meditating almost. It's kind of the best way I can explain it. And what happens is you are supposed to be able to leave your body and go out and do things. So he starts doing experiments where he hangs something up in his dorm and he goes out and he hits it when he leaves his body and then he comes back. Well, not only did he do that, but he stirred something else up. And the something that he stirred up is these shadow people. Now, shadow people are apparently people that don't know they're dead, is what I'm assuming, that are in that dimension when you're projecting. Like I said, it's kind of hard to explain. There's a lot of science behind it. And apparently, like I said, it is a real thing, although, I don't know if I believe in that. But anyway. So throughout most of the film, he is being terrorized by these shadow people. Not only him, but people in his dorm. Actually, they call it a flat in there. And I think he has two other roommates. And he is haunted, and his flatmates are starting to see things too. And then you find out a little bit about what happened to the mom and why she died. And I'm not going to go any further than that. I thought about telling you guys what the deal with the mom was, but then you won't get the twist, and yeah, I just don't want to ruin anything. But yeah, like I said, that's basically it for Astral. It is an interesting film. It is a well done film and it's very well acted, but it is slow and not a whole lot happens. I don't mind slow burns. I kind of like them myself, but I know some people aren't really fond of stuff that, you don't really have a lot of things that happen. It's more of a gradual occurrence in the film. So, do I recommend it? Sure, why not? Just know what you're getting yourself into. It is a slow burn, like I said, and it not a whole lot happens. So if you're not into that kind of movie, then you might want to skip this one. And don't forget to vote for the ones that didn't make it. And if you like what you see in here, hit that like button and subscribe. And until next time, peace.